In this video, we're going to be discussing brand loyalty, specifically one that kind of hits close to home with us, and something I think is really interesting the way it just unfolds in society is iPhone users versus non-iPhone users, more specifically Android users. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So me, I have an iPhone. I've had an iPhone. I've probably had an iPhone since like 2013. Yeah, 2013, so almost a decade now. I got my first smartphone probably in like 6th grade when I was 11, but I think it was a Samsung. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was not an iPhone. I liked it. It was cool. It got the job done back then, but ever since 2013, I've only ever had iPhones as my phones. So yeah. What? There you go. Yeah, what do you have? You have a Google Pixel, right?
I have a Google Pixel, and I would say I've used pretty much all Android smartphones ever since I first got my first Android smartphone, which is probably in 2012 when I was in 9th grade. Before that, I had flip phones.
Yeah.
But personally, so maybe we'll get into this now. Why do we pick the phones that we like?
Right.
For me, I always liked how customizable they were, and they were more intuitive to me than iPhones. And I've had what's it called, the iPod, which I guess is a precursor, and I liked it, but it wasn't very intuitive. I didn't find it very easy to use.
Interesting.
So why do you think you?
So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I don't have a perfect answer for you, but I kind of want to speak more on the culture of it, because from what I've observed, some people are super anti-iPhone. And some people are blind supporters of iPhone. And I dislike both ends of the spectrum. That is to say, some people are like, oh, you're so basic, or you're such a sheep, or you're so dumb, you don't think, you just conform and you just act like all the other mindless consumers and you get an iPhone. And truthfully, I think there is a little bit of truth to that. But I also think it's kind of just yo, chill out. It's just a freaking phone. You don't need to belittle someone or make fun of them or insult them for their phone, for the type of phone they have. And that goes both directions. If someone doesn't have an iPhone, you shouldn't judge them. Right.
No, it's
right. So sorry, I'm gonna finish. Simultaneously, there's some people on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's they'll only ever buy iPhone. And this kind of irks me personally. I know plenty of people who, they're complaining about their iPhone. It's oh my gosh, it's so slow now, or the battery sucks, or oh, the camera quality, or yada yada yada. And I'm just
update ruined my phone, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm just yo, no one is forcing you to buy an iPhone. There are other products out there. Go try it out. But for whatever reason, they won't do it. Yeah, and something I was saying before, I think a lot of it is social influence, peer pressure, what your friends might do to you. And I mean, something I said before, to me, it's insane that some people can be so shallow and just short-sighted to think this. But I know people who they think that if you don't have an iPhone, you're poor.
Which is silly because I would say a lot of Android phones are vastly more pricey.
Right.
Which is silly to think about. Not that it's a boon to the quality of it, but still why would you consider that in the quality in a tool that you use?
Yeah, I think some people can't wrap their head around the fact that some people will choose something that's not an iPhone. The iPhone's not for them, and the whole, something I think of is the green text message versus the blue text message.
So much.
I think there's a lot of psychological underlying, subliminal subversion there. That is to say, no, I'll admit it. Sometimes, I have an iPhone. So if I text a non-iPhone user, the message that comes back is green. Sometimes I see that and it kind of rubs me the wrong way, or feels off for some reason. But that's so dumb because the message still goes through, the product is working just fine, but there's something more comforting about that blue text message, and I think it's almost brainwashing on the part of Apple. Personally, that's what I think, because I mean, they're such a powerful company.
Association.
Right.
And along those lines too, right? I was gonna bring that up, but you already got it. One of the things I think that Apple does super well, and I have to admit, every so often when I think about it, I'm like really tempted to get an iPhone, right? Is the way that they co-brand everything. Their iPhones, their Macs, their Apple Watches, everything works super well to each other. You can text people through your Mac. You can, FaceTime other iPhone users. It works super well. And the one thing I think that Android is falling behind on very slightly is all those accessories that go along with it. Because I have to admit, I have an Android, but I don't, specifically a Google Pixel, but I don't have, like Pixel branded accessories. That doesn't matter to me. So I think Apple does a really nice job of co-branding things, encouraging people, you have to buy into this culture.
Oh, yeah.
Buy into it, be a part of it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the message ideas. Right?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that for sure. I will say, without a doubt, hands down, my favorite feature with Apple products, iPhones, is AirDrop. Oh. AirDrop is next level. So incredibly convenient. And then if I want to share files, photos, whatever, if I want to share it with someone who doesn't have an iPhone, it's a lot harder. Because you have to use maybe like Google Drive if the file is big. But yeah, that's like the one thing that I think is differentiating me. But yeah, I mean, I got this phone about a year ago, so I'm not due for a new phone anytime soon, really. I like to run mine into the ground. I like to get as much life out of them as I can. But that being said, next time I buy a phone, I'm kind of more on the fence now. I might get an iPhone, I might get an Android, I might get something else. I don't feel pressure from anyone. I just feel as an adult, as an individual, as a sentient human being, I feel like I should exercise more freedom because all my family members own iPhones. You could argue that's part of an influence.
But it's convenient, right? When you text each other, your group chat isn't weird. Everything
right. And I don't think we should consider the green bubbles weird. It's just like I said, I think it's just like.
Why do we even have them in the first place? Who cares if you're texting someone from a different device?
Yeah. But yeah, most of my friends have iPhones, and that, like, maybe it's just subliminal, like, group think, society conforming, everyone, peer pressure. I think that's a big part of it, honestly. I mean, has anyone ever pressured you to get an iPhone? What's your family like?
Oh my God. Okay, so technically our family is split down the middle. My mom and I both have Androids. My brother and my dad both have iPhones. And we've pretty much stuck to that. We never bothered each other about it. We text each other. It's fine. But my kids, every time that they say, oh, I have an Android, they're like, no.
Wait, explain who your kids are.
I'm sorry. My kids, I'm referring to my students. I'm a school teacher. So every time that I bring up the fact, well, actually, they ask me, do you have a charger I could borrow? And I like, do you remember that I have an Android?
Yeah.
And they're all hideously offended. They're like, Miss Joe, you got to change it up.
Oh, exactly.
And I'm like, none of y'all are texting me. None of y'all are texting me. Absolutely not.
It's like, geez, why do you care so much about the product that I use? Or it's like, I mean, obviously, they're joking. But some people, it's like, why? I can't believe people would judge another adult, another human being. It's like, oh, you don't have an iPhone? It's like I don't think this way. I'm not judging anyone, but some people do think this way. I'm sure you know someone who thinks this way. I'm sure everyone knows someone. I hope you don't, but you probably do.
I mean, you probably, maybe you're one of those people. It's fine. We still love you. But well, that goes back to like the original ethos of Apple, right? When you look at like the original way it was created, it was meant to be accessible to everyone. That's the way it was designed. Like easy to use, very streamlined, comforting. Everyone can use it. And I think that is partially why people like it so much. They're like, well, it's like the product for everyone. But at the same time, it has this whole like reputation. Like if you have the newest iPhone, it's like the new nicest thing. It costs a lot of money. So it has like a reputation for being accessible, but at the same time, it's something that is expensive and it's a luxury product, which is weird.
Dumb. I mean, I don't care who you are. Like what I can say is $1,000 for an iPhone is just absolutely absurd, blasphemous. I don't care if I'm making $1 million a year. Like that's not logical. Like inflation, everything. Don't come at me with inflation. Like That's just ridiculous to me, and it doesn't make sense. Back to what I was saying before. This is what I cannot condone. I can only condemn this. If you're dissatisfied with a product, don't continue to buy it. You vote with your dollar. Like I was saying before, some people are constantly complaining about their iPhone.
The planned obsolescence, the way it goes out.
Right, right. And that being said, everyone knows this. I mean, products have been studied before. Like Apple, the manufacturers, the engineers, if they wanted to, they could create a product that's more durable, that lasts you longer. But that would mean less profit for them. So rather, they create a product that gets slower over time. It's more prone to bugs, malfunctions, maybe physical interface breaking. And personally, I think, like, I get it. Profit is important if you're running a business. But it's like, I think that's dumb. Like, you should give the consumers the best product you possibly can.
Exactly. But it goes against the ethos of that by creating a product that's meant to break in the first place.
And of course, Apple's not the only one guilty of that.
Oh, of course.
Apple's not the only one guilty
But like,
of that.
why are we so defensive of products that, to be honest, I mean, nowadays, weird. Okay. Nowadays, you know, we do tend to like have our phones on us at all times.
Yeah.
But they're not meant to be used like that. They're temporary tools that we use some of the time.
Facts.
It's an accessory. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing I wanted to touch on is something that scares me is it's not necessarily a monopoly, but it damn near is when it comes to phones, I think. That is to say, of course, I guess I'm a young professional, so I associate with people who are like me, and the vast majority of my friends own iPhones. Like, I can't name more than 5 people who don't have iPhones, or at least I should say smartphones. I know a handful of people who have non-iPhones, but the vast majority of people own iPhones. And to me, that's strange because I think of a free market or a market where there's more diversity when it comes to consumerism. That is to say, if I go out and walk through a parking lot, you see cars, of course. You see cars, and what do you see? You see
lots of different ones.
Yeah, you see Ford, you see Mercedes, you see Honda, you see Subaru, you see Lexus, you see BMW, you see Volvo. You see a bunch of diversity. But then when it comes to the phone market, it's a huge chunk is iPhones, and then a decent chunk is your Androids, etc. And then like
other smaller companies or not as popular companies.
Right. And to me, that kind of boggles my mind because it's like we've gotten so used to it when, like, in the phone market, I should say, in the phone market, it's totally acceptable. But what if we walk through the parking lot and you saw only Fords, or like you saw 80% Fords and like 20% other mishmash things? That would be weird.
It would be weird. You'd be like, weird. What? Is this like some kind of sole demographic market? Because really, there's no other. And like, you have to admit, there's no other demographic that buys consistently one product. Like, I can't even name like one demographic that's I will only buy this one brand.
Facts.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Even like social markers, like no matter how you splice it, social markers, gender, ethnicity, religion, race, whatever you would categorize it by, there's no consumer market that buys as consistently as iPhone users.
Do you think so?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's a diverse profile.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Yeah.
Oh. It's popular for a reason, but I don't know that I'm ever going to change.
There's nothing wrong with that. You got any more closing thoughts?
No.
Yeah, I mean, well, in closing, what I would say is when it comes to consuming anything in general, when it comes to brands, just like buy what you want to buy. Don't fall victim to the peer pressure. Don't believe hype. Just like do your research, and even if other people judge you for it, do what makes you happy. It's really that simple. Be an informed consumer, and that's about it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yep.